Right then, welcome back to the channel. 5 things we learned watching Manchester United beat Aston Villa and potentially book our place in the top 4 and in the Champions League for next season. And of course, we'd like to finish third, automatic qualification. Less games, the better. Obviously, without getting chinned off out of any of the competitions. But let's get into it. Number 1, Lindelof and Shaw. So I thought they were both outstanding against Aston Villa. Lindelof has had a really strong run of games recently. Shaw has shown that he is just more than comfortable at centre-half. He doesn't just shoot it, but he's absolutely owning it. They're looking very, very confident together. They look like they complement each other in a certain way. And as a second choice, complete second choice partnership, the pair of them are really, really good backup to Martinez and Varane, which obviously has huge implications and question marks for what's going to happen with Harry Maguire. But in terms of having a backup partnership out of those, massive, massive win for United having that sort of capability. Number 2, Christian Eriksen was absolutely class. He was back to his best, I thought, against Villa yesterday. Leaps and bounds, by far United's best ball progressor, someone that absolutely sees things way before they happen. Just an incredibly intelligent footballer, and he's so composed when we're in possession. He really allows us to dictate, and I think there's such a difference when he comes off the pitch. United just instantly start to look a little bit dysfunctional, and it felt like everything that was positive was going through Christian Eriksen for me. It's just absolutely some footballer. What a free signing that turned out to be. Number 3, high line. Villa were very brave, and it was such a game of two halves. United just constantly getting in behind them in the first half. They played a very, very high line, which is a bold thing to do against United. We were getting in behind, and we could have been a little bit more clinical with it, but it looked like United were popping around. We was moving it into the left and right half space, having 3 or 4 players work it with one touch, and then we would look for a quick dosh over the top because the line was constantly trying to push in high. It just wasn't quite crisp for United. Either the finish wasn't there or the final ball wasn't quite perfect. But we was getting in behind so often and so many times it was a matter of time. Now, Rashford obviously got through when it mattered. His shot wasn't the greatest of shots, but we get the rebound, and obviously Bruno goes and sticks it in. But it was well done from Marcus Rashford, and he was a constant threat in behind. And obviously Bruno following it in like you're supposed to do, meaning that we actually got the goal that took us over the line in the end. I think we probably could have exploited it a little bit better. I think the added pace in the attacking line, or some added pace in the attacking line other than Rashford, we might have fared a little bit better in the first half. But it was really interesting to see how Villa were trying to push that line constantly. And I don't think Mings and Konsa is the greatest centre-half partnership. I think they're suited to being a little bit more physical, a little bit more combative. I think when you get them turned around, they're not the greatest. And I think United were turning them around constantly today. And I think that was what probably changed in the second half. I think they were probably told to maybe not go quite as high because we was just getting in so often. And I think that was one of the major changes that we saw from Villa at half-time. And that's why the second half opened up and it became a little bit more even, I think it would be fair to say. Second half, Sancho. Now, Sancho, although was neat and tidy, wasn't really at his best in the first half. But in the second half, he did show a couple of glimpses of quality, and it was a quite strong second half from him. I think he's got had a little bit more bravery and decisiveness in his games, maybe be a little bit more committed. He almost looks like he's not arsed, and I don't think that is the case in all honesty. He does a couple of really, really quality things every single game. And then he does a couple of things that absolutely frustrate you because there's glimpses of a genuine talent in there, but he's not getting it to a consistent level where he's going and owning games. He is capable of doing that. And that's the frustrating thing. If this was someone that was crap, you wouldn't really be bothered. And like, if this was someone that was just breaking through maybe, or, just someone that wasn't someone that's got ability to back up numbers like Jadon Sancho has, you'd be a little bit more blasé about him. But the frustrating thing is that Jadon Sancho's got it in him to be a genuine world beater. It's whether or not he's got the ability to unlock it. And some of it, I think he's almost just playing it a little bit safe. Has he been reading social media? Has he been burned a little bit by what happened in his first season here? I don't know what it quite is with Jadon Sancho, but he's definitely playing within himself. There is an extra gear or two that he could unload, and he would be absolutely unplayable. But he, for whatever reason, can't seem to drag that out of himself. And that, for me, is why we're only seeing a 5 or 6 out of 10 Sancho. And even on a good day, it's still only quite hitting 7. If you want him to be an 8 or a 9, he's going to have to not just put in some big performances, but he's going to have to do it on a weekly basis. And that feels like a long way off at the moment. And at number 5, clean sheet. The back four was absolutely solid. And I'm going to be honest with you, when Malacia was in the team sheet, I was like, okay. Not sure about that one. He's had a poor few weeks and he's kind of looked a little bit like maybe the Premier League wasn't quite the league for him. But against Villa, he's out here creating chances. He's up and down the pitch. He's making big challenges at big moments. One where he's come and slid in the centre of the box and you're like, Jesus Christ, is that Malacia wearing Wan-Bissaka's shirt or what? What's going on here? Or the other way around. Is that Wan-Bissaka in Malacia's shirt? What is going on here? Like, that's not the sort of thing that we've seen out of Malacia. He was solid. He was absolutely solid. And I also think Delon needs a shout out for how well he played as well. But Malacia, a much better performance than we've seen from him in recent weeks. And that's obviously a bonus. Success over long term is built on defences. And I think there's elements of our defence and goalkeeper have let us down at times this season. And that's been perhaps where United have struggled. Or one of the reasons United have struggled. And the over-reliance on Marcus Rashford for goals and no recognised number 9 is quite comfortably the main reason that we've struggled. And this hasn't been a title challenging season. But success is built on the back of clean sheets. Matches are won by strikers, but titles and that are won by defences. And we've had Watkins on an absolute tear recently, and he was kept very, very quiet. They didn't really threaten us. Yes, I know Lindelof had to clear one off the line, but they didn't really go out and threaten us, did they? They had a couple of moments, and if United had been a bit more clinical in the first half, it might have been 2 or 3 going into half-time. So, well-deserved 1-0 that you've had to work for. You can't argue with that. And you can't be sniffing at this sort of thing as well, because you've just stifled an Aston Villa team that is in sensational form, that is flying up the table, and you've just put them back in their place. So, very happy with that. Seen a couple of people frustrated. I know it's a game of 2 halves and you'd rather it end on a high, but ultimately you got 3 points in a very difficult set of circumstances with your second choice defence. So, don't worry about it. Good 3 points, that, in my opinion. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'll see you in the next one. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, 5-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.